Hello, everyone. My name is Stuart Walpin. I am a longtime consumer technology reporter and reviewer for Twice Magazine. We're here today to talk to Orlando Zayas, who is the CEO of Katapult, a lease-to-own company whose aim is to expand consumer technology retailers' businesses. Orlando, welcome. Why don't you give everybody an opportunity to know who you are?
Hi, Stuart. Thanks for having me today. Be glad to. Orlando Zayas, CEO of Katapult. Katapult is a omni-channel lease-to-own provider for durable goods for the non-prime consumer, but also, sometimes for prime consumers who are looking for some flexibility and being able to purchase durable goods. So durable goods would be appliances, furniture, obviously electronics. And what we do is we provide a way for those consumers that are turned down for other prime financing, a way to get the items that they need. And it's a clear, very transparent way that they can get the items they need, get to ownership as quick as possible, and have a lot of flexibility whether they decide to get to ownership or they decide to return the item at any time during the lease. I've been in the business since 2013. Ran a company before Katapult that did the same thing. When I came to Katapult in 2017, I realized that from an e-commerce perspective, this was something that really wasn't offered very much or very well to consumers. And we really focused the company on providing, incremental customers to electronics and other retailers that focus on durable goods. Our first major client, for example, was Lenovo. And what Lenovo saw is that, this was truly an incremental customer who was maybe searching on their website, looked for, the best deal, and unfortunately didn't have a way to pay. And so we actually brought them an incremental customer that bought products that they were quite frankly surprised at, some of the products that the customers were buying. And it gave them a new customer that they could, bring back over and over again. Our repeat rate is pretty tremendous because of the clarity and transparency that we provide in the product.
Cool. I'm sure this is a very exciting idea for a lot of consumer technology retailers, but obviously, lease to own is not a new idea in the world of retail, and certainly not in the world of consumer technology. Just as a personal point, back in the late 70s, I rented my first 3 or 4 VCRs rather than buying them because they were really expensive when they first came out. So tell us about what you're doing on a lease to own program that may be different from what consumer technology retailers may have been used to. You're bringing in essentially a turnkey operation, right?
Exactly. It's real simple for the retailer. They put us into their cart. It's a way to pay. So a payment method very similar to PayPal or maybe their financing option if they have a prime lender. And so it's real simple, real easy. The customer fills out very simple information. It's probably very different than when you did it back in the 70s. And I did the same thing when I was in college. I rented all my furniture and, you went through a tremendous amount of information, a tremendous amount of pain and agony in getting the application completed. And so what we did is we streamlined that. You give 7 simple pieces of information, and those are things that off the top of your head, like your last 4 digits of your social security number and name and address. And then we can turn around an approval pretty quickly. We look at all kinds of data. We don't pull traditional FICO or traditional credit bureaus. We look at all kinds of data to determine whether or not you are who you say you are. And from an electronics perspective, especially, we want to make sure that you are who you say you are. And if you are, we'll return an offer within less than 5 seconds. And so you can make that decision on whether you want to purchase the item based on this financing method pretty quickly. And we're very clear, we're very transparent about what you pay, how you pay, when you pay, and then what your options are to get to ownership.
So obviously, from the retailer's point of view, this is sort of, I don't want to say free business. What you're doing is the retailer doesn't really have to do anything except tell the customer that this option is available, correct?
Exactly, Stuart. It really is a very turnkey operation for the retailer. We have a couple different methods with the retailer. We can have a waterfall where if they are turned down from the prime lender, so let's just say they have a firm or somebody else and they're turned down, that data can come to us automatically, and we can make an offer to that consumer very seamlessly. And there's not, like I said, it's 7 pieces of information. It's a less than 5 seconds turnaround time. And then even to complete the lease, it takes less than 90 seconds.
Okay, so obviously, this is going to be a great benefit to consumer electronics retailers, especially in today's environment where they're going to be squeezed by inflation and obviously supply chain issues. So, how are you going to help the retailer tell consumers that this option is available? What kind of marketing and merchandising sorts of opportunities are you going to supply for the retailers?
Sure. We work with retailers in a number of different ways around marketing, whether they're marketing to this consumer who, has had credit issues in the past. Obviously, the waterfall is tremendous for us, because if that customer is searching for financing, what they want is they need an option to pay. And if they're turned down for the prime lender, we give them an option to pay. So they capture that customer. And we had a retailer early on that did a test, and they sent us 50% of the declines that came from their prime lender, and 50% didn't get an offer. And what they found was this customer truly was incremental, and that they came back and bought not only that time, but over and over again.
Now, I know that you offer a series of promotional programs, that you have some marketing and merchandising programs that you run throughout the year.
Yes, for sure. Especially during the holidays. We know, working with the retailers, what are the big holidays. For example, Labor Day is a big furniture time. People are getting ready for the holiday season, and they're building out their house, if you will, with furniture. Obviously, during the holiday season, electronics are big. TVs and laptops and other items are very popular as gifts. And so it gives the consumers an option to pay. So we will do promotions during those times to help facilitate not only that customer and the awareness of the option, but helping that customer get through the application process and the lease process really quickly, understanding exactly what they're going to pay. And we do some offers time to time where we'll lower the initial payment or change different options to help facilitate increased sales for the retailer.
Now, this relationship that you're building, from what I understand, it is that you buy the product from the retailer and then you handle everything after that.
Exactly.
From the customer retailer relationship, that relationship maintains. As far as the customer is concerned, they've bought the item from ABC Electronics, and that relationship doesn't change. As far as the customer is concerned, they bought it from the store, and from the retailer point of view, they have that customer, correct?
That's exactly right, Stuart. We are very much hand in hand with the retailer around this customer. We want to treat the customer like they treat the customer, with respect, with dignity. We want to make sure we're clear and transparent, and that relationship continues. And so even if that customer, let's say they got an approval for $2,000, but they only used $600 because they bought a laptop, we'll go back to that customer and say, hey, you've got some open to buy. Why don't you go back to that retailer and look for other items to buy? So we want to continue to maintain that relationship and get that customer back to that retailer over and over again.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about logistics and how that customer is captured to begin with. Obviously, consumers buy a lot of electronics online as well as in store. So can you give us an idea of a customer is interested in buying a big screen TV? If they go to the store, what happens? Where do they go online? How does that process actually work?
It's pretty seamless. It's very similar on both online and in the store. We put the transaction in the hand of the consumer, so the salesperson at the store doesn't really have to do a lot of education or explanation, because it's all done on their handheld in the store. And it's a very similar process. Basically, what we've done, we've kind of upended the process where we've taken the same process that they do online and do it in the store, so that the consumer is processing the transaction, doing the application, everything's on their phone, and then we're communicating with that retailer to say, hey, this is paid, release the merchandise.
So let's talk a little bit about the e-commerce side. Obviously, a lot of these retailers have their own e-commerce arms. And I know that Katapult has its own website where consumers can go. So when you go to the I would assume that a consumer is initially going to go to the retailer website because that's
Right.
who they know.
Yep.
So when they go to the retailer, are you helping retailers insert that e-commerce piece into their website?
Yes. Yeah. So what we like to see, is either if they have a financing page on their site where the customer can get the information, but really the best is in the checkout. So, you've seen, we call it the NASCAR checkout, where you see all the different logos of different ways to pay, whether it's Visa, MasterCard, or PayPal or whatever. We want to be right there too, so that the customer can say, I want to pick Katapult. We usually put no credit required, lease to own, so the customer knows exactly what they're applying for. And that customer who doesn't, have pristine credit, maybe has been turned down by some of the prime lenders before, they'll pick that option. And so we love that option in addition to the waterfall where that customer comes to us if they've been turned down by the prime lender.
Okay, so a consumer technology retailer is interested in becoming a partner with Katapult. What do they got to do?
Not much. I mean, we'll do some API integration into their checkout, but it's no more than Visa, MasterCard, or some of the other lending arms, and that's just so we can facilitate the information back and forth about it's paid, release the merchandise, the application. But we really take it from there. It's just a simple integration by most retailers. So, for example, if a retailer is on Shopify, we can get that retailer up in about 30 minutes. It's really that simple.
Wow. So if a retailer is interested, how do they find you?
Call me. Obviously go to our website. We have a merchant portal where they can get more information about, either the APIs or the integration into different platforms. We're integrated in Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, many of the platforms that many of the retailers use. And the integration is pretty easy. So, they can reach out to us. Our customer success team sets up the integration. It's done pretty quickly, pretty seamlessly, and they can be up and running within a few days.
Great. So is there anything I didn't ask you about, any message that you want to give to consumer technology retailers who are interested in partnering up with Katapult?
Sure. Thanks for that question, Stuart. It really is about an incremental customer. And I think most of the retailers realize that if a consumer is searching for financing, they might not have another way to pay, or they don't want to use their credit card. And it's a great alternative, and it brings an incremental customer. And I think that's what's so important. And, we have some cases where it's anywhere between 3 and 10% incremental to their bottom line, to their sales. And what retailer wouldn't want 3 to 10% more business from a new customer? And that repeat customer coming back over and over again is really where the benefit continues over time.
I certainly wouldn't turn them down for eating crackers in bed. Thanks a lot for your time, Orlando. This has been very informative. And if anybody is interested, any retailers are interested, they can certainly go to katapult.com for more information. Thanks again for your time, Orlando.
Thanks, Stuart. I appreciate the time.